Just because we're worried about the stairs.
Steps are getting slippery. Thank you.
Can you say that again?
Good. Mayday. There's a thief in the White House. He's going to the elixir.
Well, it took him a little. Why are we moving? Do you want me to like do a little what we're doing?
Yeah.
Why are we moving down? Safety.
Hey
everybody, it's Sue from Women's March Minnesota, and we're here at St. Paul Capitol for the rally and protest about the firing of Jeff Sessions, and whoever believed we'd be out here protesting that, right? But with the appointment of Matt Whitaker as the acting Attorney General, that puts the whole Mueller investigation at risk, which really is would constitute what was pretty much a constitutional crisis. So people are gathering outside here at the Capitol, as you can see, and there'll be speakers.
That's so funny. You're like, should we go up? And then
I think
we all come right back down
what is
again.
also important to know and very exciting is that there's also rallies and protests like in St. Cloud and Brainerd and Rochester and multiple places around town like Emmer's office and Erickson's office, etc. And so people are getting out for this because it's so critically important that we preserve our democracy and our faith in our Constitution and protest the fact that the president believes he is above the law, which of course he is not. So we'll turn it back over to the protest that's happening here, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Cheers!
Who actually turned up, can you join us up here so I know who you are? If you want to address the crowd. Anybody? No. So everybody, anyway, I'm Katie McMahon. I got this landed on my plate yesterday. Thank you. Yes, I was suffering from a hangover, but it was all good news. But we know what's going on here, and this is just another attempt by Trump to obstruct justice, and we're not going to stand for it, and all over the country we're standing together, even in the snow. So thank you so much for coming. You guys are awesome. And if anyone's good at leading chants, please come up and take over. You will want to go do something. Oh, wonderful. We have our first speaker here, Anastasia Belladonna Carreras. She is she is the executive director of the Minnesota Common Cause. So wonderful. Here we go.
How's everybody doing tonight? There you go. There you go. How many are fired up and ready to go? That's what I'm talking about. That's what. Okay, so just a little side fun fact. Oh, here we go. Okay, fun fact, everybody. I'm from a little teeny tiny island, and I love this weather. I love it. Okay, so like many of you, I have been completely, joyfully taken aback by the power of we the people since November 6th. Yeah. And for those of you that have heard me talk before, I am the executive director for Common Cause Minnesota, and if any of you know who that is, we love holding power accountable. And we do that in a very equal rights kind of way. That means that we hold all power accountable. You betcha! You betcha! So I do have some key points that I really wanted to share with you this evening, and it will not come as much of a surprise to many of you, because I think this is what brings us all together tonight, right? So, as I said before, I do like holding power.
Talk to those people in the back.
Accountable. Hi, everybody in the back. Can you hear me? If I get to the point where you don't, just wave, because this is important for you too. Okay, so when we talked about holding power accountable, that means no one is above the law, right? No one. Okay. But it also requires justice to not just be blind, but to be nonpartisan. Yeah. That's what we mean by all power, at least for the reasons why I'm here. We're here because we the people believe in the rule of law. However, we're also here because Washington, D.C., some in Washington, D.C., right, don't agree with that necessarily, or at least they don't believe that it belongs to them too. Right? Right. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. Okay. I'm here to remind everybody, and it's just a reminder because we're all here for the same reason, is that we the people are the ultimate power within our democracy. Yes. Yes. Ultimate. We're the ultimate power in our democracy. I'm here because, more importantly, the Mueller investigation needs to be protected. Yes. I'm also here because we want Whitaker to recuse himself immediately. Yes. Immediately. And we're not just saying that, again, to ring the nonpartisan aspect of it, because we may have a particular political issue. We're saying that because before he was appointed, he was already making comments about how this was just a witch hunt. Yes. Right? Yes. He is not Donald Trump's personal attorney. No. He is the attorney of the American people. Yes. We, the people. He is accountable to us. Yes. Right? Okay. Another thing I wanted to point out is that Congress has already actually, how many knew that the U.S. Senate, already led by the Republicans, actually moved bipartisan bill, right, to protect the Mueller investigation. Now we need you, every single person here, to contact the newly elected and current, right, U.S. House members and remind them that we need immediate action on them also moving that. Yes. Right. We need that effective right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. We just sent a message to Washington, D.C., did we not, on November 6th? Yes. We did. It was delivered on the faces of every single first, right, after his or her name. True? Yes. Ilhan Omar. Angie Craig. Peggy Flanagan. And countless of others, both locally and across our country. It's time to do it again and remind Washington that no one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law. No one's above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one's above the law. No one's above the law. No one's above the law.
I love you guys. You all remind me of the group that we were working with on November 6th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Everyone was out there making sure that no one was above the law and that everyone's voice and vote was heard. And I have to say thank you so much to every single, louder, to every single one. I'm here to deliver an invitation to everybody. I want you to join our national effort to hold everyone accountable. And I also want to remind everyone not to fall for divisive narrative that points the proverbial finger to one side or the other when it comes to holding power accountable. We are the ultimate power within our democracy. We the people are that. And as long as we keep our focus and our attention on that fact and hold all power accountable, we will be heard. They will have to hear us.
Keep the press free! Free press!
Yes.
Someone just talked about... Someone just started talking about a free press. Thank you so much for raising that issue. That is part of holding power accountable. So this is why we must do that every single day, not just on November 6th. Not just when we have this wonderful event at our state capitol, because this belongs to you. This is your house. It is your house.
Whose house?
Whose house? Whose house?
Whose house?
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's the ultimate power?
We are!
Who's the ultimate power in democracy?
We are!
Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Woo-hoo! Okay, does anyone want to sing a song?
Hello, so I'm State Representative Dave Pinto from St. Cloud. We are blessed to live in a great country, a country that is already great, right? Because of the freedoms that we have. 2 days ago, we exercised one of those freedoms, right? The freedom to vote, right? Look that way at the cathedral. The freedom to worship as we please, one of the great American freedoms, the freedom to worship, right? Freedom of the press. We cannot take these freedoms for granted.
That's right!
They are protected by the rule of law. And who is above the law?
No one!
I work outside the legislature as a prosecutor. I specialize in gender violence, domestic violence, sexual exploitation.
Thank you.
It is critical that we recognize that no one is above the law, that it applies to everyone, every woman and man, every resident of every part of this great country, and that includes the President of the United States. The law belongs to all of us, and it is the rule of law. It is that principle that safeguards our freedom to vote, that safeguards our freedom to worship as we please, that safeguards our freedoms of the press and the media to know the truth. Right? It is critical that we protect that principle, protect the rule of law. We are calling on Congress to pass laws to protect the Mueller investigation. Is that correct? We are calling for action to recognize that no one is above the law. When I walk into this building to serve our state along with my colleagues, many of my newly elected colleagues, thank you. It is critical that we exercise those rights on your behalf, those rights to speak and to pass laws and to do the work that we do. It is critical we recognize in doing that we too, that all of us are below the law, that no one is above the law. I thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and what I want to ask you to do is to talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, keep coming back, and to recognize that that House and the House in Congress, whose house are they? Ours! Whose house? Our house! Whose house? Our house! Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to turn the bullhorn over to Rena here from Mothers Against Gun Violence. Students demand action, and she's going to talk to us. Sorry, here she is.
Yay! Go young people.
Yeah. First, I'd like to have a moment of silence in honor of the victims of gun violence in Thousand Oaks, California. Thank you. My name is Raina, and I am here today on the 311th day of 2018 to honor the victims of the 307th mass shooting that has happened thus far. I am a high school student who is tired of being terrorized of gun violence and tired of the fear that I and my peers justifiably carry every time we go to school, to a community center, to our place of worship, or out for a night of fun. I can't imagine not taking action to prevent gun violence, and that's why I'm a member of Students Demand Action Minnesota. Students Demand Action Minnesota was born after the horrific shooting in Parkland, Florida. We are a sister organization of Moms Demand Action, Mayors Demand Action, and we are under the umbrella of Everytown. We are marching, and those of us who are over 18 are voting. We are speaking up, and we are standing up, and we are demanding sensible gun laws from our elected officials. This week's election is a very, very positive sign. In fact, youth voting has been raised over 188%. We elected many champions of sensible gun reform, but there is still a lot of progress that has yet to be done. I and thousands of students who stand at my side are more than ready to champion gun violence and to end it in our generation. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other speakers who are ready to come forward yet? No? Okay, let's do a bit of singing then. I would like to sing, and you all to join. This land is your land. This land is my land. Okay. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I was walking a criminal highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me you and me. Let's do another chorus. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's above the law?
No one!
Our house!
Whose house? Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Louder, can I hear it? Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Whose house?
Our house!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's above the law?
No one!
Louder!
No one!
Okay, we have a speaker who couldn't make it today, a new representative that's just been elected in, called Jay, and I can't pronounce the last name, I think it's Jong, and they sent me this to read, and she said, as an American, we value above all else the rule of law and that sacred ideal that justice prevails. I believe that the resignation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions is a step closer to autocratic and despotic rule by a single man in Donald Trump. In spite of his known human flaws as an abject racist, even Jeff Sessions had the guts and integrity not to fire Special Investigator Robert Mueller. Yeah. With the pressure of Donald Trump, even Sessions held out until yesterday. I strongly condemn the way President Trump forced Sessions aside, so he hopes he can appoint a more pliant minion to do as he wishes. Fire Robert Mueller. Yeah, minions. Only the cute ones are good. We need to try the right responsible people for treason. We need to uphold the rule of law and let Mr. Mueller's investigation run its course no matter the outcome. That is the America I know, and this is the America we demand back. Woo! Jay Young.
When Mueller is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack, what do we
Stand
do?
up, stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack! When Mueller is under attack!
Stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack!
Stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack!
Stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack!
Stand up, fight back!
When Mueller is under attack!
Stand up, fight back!
I'm just here for ABs.
Oh, okay. I have to find them on myself.
Black lives matter! 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 Black lives matter!
Well, you wrote it, so you should be. We got somebody who wants to read something here, so.
Immigrants are welcome! 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 Nation of immigrants! Nation of immigrants! Nation of immigrants! Nation of immigrants!
I'm Ryan, and I'm here from. How do I turn it up? Volume.
Matthew Witt is not legit. Matthew Witt
Is this as loud as it goes?
legit.
Is this as loud as it goes?
Yes.
Everybody hear me? All right.
Yes.
I'm Ryan. I'm here from Indivisible. I'm here to talk a few minutes about President Trump and what it means for all Americans to live under the rule of law. I'm here to talk about what it means for all Americans to... Should I do this one? Okay. Right. Okay. I'm here to talk about what it means for all Americans to live under the rule of law. American democracy depends on fairness in how we treat each other, from private citizens to those at the highest echelons of government. In order for us to aspire to our founding fathers' dreams that we are all created equal, we must all be equal in the eyes of the law. We are just under 2 years into the Trump presidency, and we've crossed a bright line. Yesterday, a day after the midterm elections, the president, in a corrupt act, pushed out Senate-confirmed Attorney General Jeff Sessions and replaced him with loyalist Matthew Whitaker. Whitaker began as a pro-Trump conservative legal commentator on CNN, where he discussed how the Mueller investigation could be stymied by starving it of funds. Whitaker has also made it clear that he believes the scope of the investigation is much too broad and should be so limited that Trump's finances are out of its scope.
Yeah.
Whitaker has gone so far as to publicly defend the president's son meeting with Russian operatives to gain compromise on Trump's political opponents. We didn't get here overnight. During the campaign, Trump promised to release his tax returns and to divest himself from his business interests. But the president retains control over his businesses and claims he has nothing to hide.
He's a liar.
Lying Trump!
Lying Trump.
Lying Trump! 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 Lock him up! 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 Lock him up!
Okay. Sessions firing and his replacement with Whitaker, who sees no need to recuse himself from the probe, is only the latest in a long series of steps that the president has taken to keep the rule of law from applying to himself.
Right.
Who's above the law?
No one!
Who's above the law?
No one!
In January 2016, 2016, shortly after the inauguration, the president fired Acting Attorney General Sally Yates, claiming that Yates refused to defend the administration's travel ban on Muslim-majority countries. But that firing came just days after Yates warned White House counsel that that Russia had real leverage over National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. It took the White House much longer to fire Flynn. In March of 2016, Trump's personal lawyer, Mark Kazowitz, told Trump that New York federal prosecutor Preet Bharara was going to get you. Bharara had been conducting an intelligence Russian money laundering allegations at Deutsche Bank. Trump's principal private lender. After Bharara was fired, his office immediately settled another money laundering case involving real estate purchases in Manhattan. In unusual private meetings with FBI Director James Comey, who was overseeing the investigation into the Trump campaign ties with the Russian government, the president demanded loyalty. Oh, I
Do you need a glove?
I'm okay. I just got
Doing great.
On May 9th, 2017, the president fired him as well, prompting Congress to appoint Special Counsel Robert Mueller to oversee the Russian investigation. The president has also tried to discredit FBI officials, including Andrew McCabe, Jim Rybicki, and James Baker, who Comey identified as being able to corroborate his account of the events that preceded his firing. All three were eventually pushed out of their jobs. In June of 2018, Trump demanded White House counsel fire Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which was prevented only when White House counsel refused. Trump has threatened the ability of current institutions to investigate his businesses or his campaign relationships with foreign actors. He has revoked security clearances from officials that threaten his power or speak out against him. The president has repeatedly lashed out against former Attorney General Jeff Sessions, belittling him and yelling at him for recusing himself from the Russia probe, pushing Sessions toward his resignation, maybe more of a firing, in favor of somebody who would more strictly control the Mueller investigation. Mueller. It's been clear for many months that Trump and Sessions did not get along well, and his departure was not unexpected after the midterm elections. But the Department of Justice has a deputy attorney general until the president can appoint and the Senate can confirm a replacement. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein could have instead filled the position in the interim, but instead Trump chose a loyalist bent on furthering the obstruction of justice on which his presidency depends. Matthew Whitaker has no place in the United States Department of Justice. He has proposed investigating prominent Democrats right off Trump's hit list of political opponents, including Hillary Clinton, Senator Mark Warner, Senator Claire McCaskill, and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, and many more. I'm Speaker of the House. Okay, well, we'll get there.
What time is it? It's Mueller time! What time is it? Mueller time!
Not only does Whitaker have no place with authority over the special counsel's investigation into Trump and his campaign's ties with Russia, he is far too partisan to oversee the entire Department of Justice at all. His appointment is the last in a series of steps that threaten American democracy and our rule of law. The Whitaker Department of Justice will grant Trump substantial control over not just the special counsel's investigation, but also the gears of justice in the entire federal government, enabling politicized investigations, and it will reduce the ability of FBI offices like the one in New York that's investigating Trump to complete their investigations of the administration. As investigations creep closer and closer to the president himself, he becomes more and more intent on using the power of the state to protect himself and his family over the good of the public. That's why we are here tonight. We must protect the investigation, the Department of Justice, and our American rule of law. Thank you.
At the moment, and how we want the Mueller investigation protected. All of you are in various groups, Indivisible, OFA, all these different groups will probably have something set up soon where you can actually call supporters in other states to bug their senators. So stay on the ball, check it out on the internet, and thank you all for coming. Can we maybe end with a song and then just, you are all awesome, thanks. This is what democracy looks like. Woo! All right, let's go into America the Beautiful, because I heard you guys singing that earlier and you're really good. I love that, guys. Okay. Oh, beautiful